Welcome to my artist residency in Burren, Ireland. Here trees whisper and stones remember. I began to paint in rhythm with the wind. Painting becomes a way to listen and to belong. Creativity feels endless. At night, I played tunes as old as the hills. I begin the first chapter of my life after the big leap. So on day 3, we took a tour around the Burren area. And we went through quite a few famous sites, including the Cliff of Moher and the Poulnabrone Dolmen, which is actually the reason that I decided to come to Burren area. I saw a picture of the Stone Age tomb. I just fell in love with that image immediately, and I decided I want to come and paint that. So we made it there. It was beautiful with the limestone rocks, and the tomb itself is supposed to be a portal, and it's just so magical. So I sat down on the rocks and started doing a small pastel sketch. I just love doing it on location because I can really take in the surroundings. So I'm using a pastel matte paper here at 6 by 9 inches. I just cut it down to that size. It's small and easy to carry. And I'm using new pastel, which is a hard pastel. I'm using it because it's smaller and easier to carry. I just put them in a shallow wooden box, and I'm actually using the lid here to support the artboard, which is my lightweight setup for plein air. The whole set goes in my small backpack, and it's really easy and lightweight to carry around, just in case I don't have a lot of time. And in this case, I really did not have a lot of time. And it's really important for me to capture this dolmen. It's so beautiful. The rocks, there's so many colors on the rocks, and I wanted to capture. And again, the day is a beautiful day with blue sky. So the flowers and the grass and the rocks, and they just form this beautiful landscape, unique landscape. I really like the textures on the rocks. Here's the finished painting. I'm really happy with it. We also went to La Hinge, which is oceanside beach town, and is also famous for golfing. We had my favorite ice cream, the 99, with a flake in it. It was just delightful. When we were at the Cliff of Moher, I decided to do a pastel plein air, which was really fun. It was in the middle of the day, so the lighting is not as good. So I decided to take my sketch back to the studio and redo it in a slightly larger format, also in pastel. So the larger piece is about 12 inches by 9 inches. It's double the size of the small sketch I did on location. I just want a slightly larger size paper so I can explore the color variations inside the shadow. And I found the shadow section really interesting because the sketch was done in the middle of the day. Contrast was really high, so the shadow was very dark and the highlight was very bright. So with a larger piece of paper, I'm able to explore the subtle hue changes inside the shadow of the cliff. I really enjoy painting the Cliff of Moher. I think I've painted this at least 6 times, and all of them have been sold to various collectors. I think people really relate to this landscape. This is a really famous tourist spot, and it's also for a reason because it's just the formation of the rock and the water, and even the little yellow flowers on the side. They're just so charming. I can paint it all the time. Just love the Cliff of Moher. Especially being there in person makes a big difference. I can really sense the feeling of the cliff, and I can capture the mood at that moment. So here I'm adding a little bit of pink and yellow to the sky because there's always a little bit warm tone on the horizon where the sky meets the water. That really creates a balance for the colors. We want to use complementary colors in a landscape to create richness of the landscape. So here's the finished painting. It was a wonderful trip. We had about 15 women artists in the bus. It was laughter throughout the whole trip. It was definitely a nice day, well spent. When we came back, I decided to try to practice my fiddle in the castle tower here right next to where I'm staying in the college. So I went into the second level of the tower. I heard the acoustic is supposed to be very good. So I played a few Irish tunes in there. It sounded so good, and I could feel the energy and the history in the tower. It felt really authentic to play Irish music in there. So I'm hoping to do more of that tomorrow. Most of the artists went back to the studio and continued working until late. And then we're hoping to get dinner the next day together. Hi, welcome to day 4 of my artist residency program. Today, I got up not too late. We had a long day yesterday. We had a tour, so everybody's tired. I think it's a little bit cold and cloudy, so I might work in the studio for a little while and finish my Cliff of Moher painting, get a cup of coffee, and then do a little sketch around the campus area. I have a fiddle lesson scheduled at 2 p.m. That's 9 a.m. New York time. I'm still taking lessons with my teacher in New York. So it will be fun. I'm gonna see if I can set it up in the castle, but who knows. And later I'm going to definitely walk around the area and do more paintings of the trees. I've been quite drawn to the trees around here and the rock formations. So hoping to get more inspiration. So I found the perfect tree on campus. I've been looking for an interesting Hawthorn tree to paint this couple of days, and because I really enjoy the shape of the Hawthorn tree, they always sway toward the other side of the wind. So because the area is so windy and so rocky, and the trees really have to survive by being able to adapt to the environment. So most of the Hawthorn trees are leaning toward one side. And in this case, the Hawthorn tree is leaning toward the right side, and there's some ancient rock behind it. It's a stone wall. And I just really enjoy the contrast of the tree and the rock next to each other, and the shadow that's being casted on the rock. So the light is coming from the left side, as you can see. And then you can see the light green leaves mostly on the left side of the tree. And it casts a shadow on the right side of the tree on the bottom part. So the shadow is almost like purple bluish. It's really interesting colors. And I really want to capture the movement in this case because the tree is swaying toward the right side by the wind. As you can tell, it's a bit windy, and I really like how the leaves are just moving toward the right side, like they're dancing. In order to do that, obviously, I needed to capture the big shapes of the tree first. And then I go in with the soft pastel, and I use the side of the pastel, first of all. So I can use the side of the pastel almost like a paintbrush. So when I do oil painting, I use a flat paintbrush, and it really creates this flat stroke. It's a distinct brush stroke. And with pastel, I use the side of the pastel to create a brush stroke. So the stroke is going from left to right. So in this case, really works out because the stroke's indicating where the wind is blowing. So this is the finished painting, and I really enjoyed capturing the depth of the leaves and the movement in the wind and the steadfast rocks behind it. I'm just holding it together, and it has a nice contrast. So it's time for my fiddle lesson. I found a perfect place, which is in the lecture hall. It's also built in this beautiful stone structured building, and it's really high ceiling, so the reverb is great, which means it makes the violin sounds good. And I'm working on a slow air with my teacher. It's called the Coolin. It's a very ancient tune. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next episode.